We are now going to watch the video where Asmongold talks about Assassin's Creed Shadows and the current state of its desperation.
2024 was not a good year for them financially. It was
if you look at their chart, the red line is going down.
Yep.
The many of their
I saw that yesterday. Ubisoft stock. Wait, actually, today is going up by 0.72%. But if you go watch it in 1 year, this is 1 year, 1 full year, I lost 50% of the value. 85% in 5 years. And the worst didn't even happen until, let's say, this point here. 2021. After 2021, they are fucking doing bad. And here it's like, we're just going down. You're just going down. This is since the year started, from the 1st of January, not even the 1st, the 2nd. They lost 13% of their company in not even 2 months. They're doing very bad.
Less than popular design practices. Yeah. When all those chickens finally came home to roost, it was the year that everyone finally decided to collectively turn on.
Well, you just look at this game.
Came home to roost. It was the year.
Star Wars.
When did this come out?
Why can't we get a good fucking Star Wars game?
2010.
Year that everyone finally decided to collectively.
The actual last good Star Wars game.
So.
Oh wait, it was 6 months ago.
The actual only good Star Wars game I ever played is fucking Lego Star Wars, the complete saga. I'm not talking about the fucking, how you call it, the Force Awakens. I'm talking about the OG Lego Star Wars, the complete saga. Literally the best game that I ever played for Star Wars is this fucking game. Which is not bad for the game itself, it's bad because no fucking developer actually made anything good out of it. God damn it.
Complaining about the state of Ubisoft's formula for years.
Ghost Recon is gone. Far Cry is gone.
Choose another path.
But for whatever reason, we're now at the point where those complaints have finally manifested into mainstream disinterest. Ubisoft games just aren't selling like they used to, which is a big problem for an outfit as big as Ubisoft is. They need to sell big numbers.
I'm probably going to buy Ubisoft. I've been saving up $3.
Yeah, I'm going to do that too.
Next year I'll be able to afford it.
I'm gonna do it too. Yeah.
Chain of
when it goes down to fucking almost zero.
And those sales did not happen in 2024. It's one financial disappointment after.
If you look at in a way of investing, investors that are already inside the game industry are not happy. You know who can be happy? After this crisis is over. Because after every single crisis, there's always going to be a golden era, let's call it like that, whatever you want to call it, or just everything's going to get better, you know? And I actually think that once Ubisoft hits the free 5, it's going to hit the free 5 euro mark, probably after Assassin's Creed Shadow releases. And after that, I'd say wait a little bit, see if it gets even worse, because they're going to announce if they're going to sell IPs or what. If they're going to sell the company, I don't know. Because, of course, if they sell the company and you buy 1,000 stock prices of Ubisoft for $3 and they sell the company, you will still lose $3,000 or euros, whatever you want to call it. So I'd say wait for the drop of Assassin's Creed Shadows. See if the stock goes even more down, which is probably gonna do so. And after that, don't buy it yet, because we all know that's gonna hit $5 per stock. And wait for the announcement if they're gonna sell or not the company. Because if they sell the company, don't buy it, of course. Don't buy it. If you want, buy stock of the company that's gonna buy it, which probably is Tencent. That's the rumor. And if Ubisoft is just gonna sell its IPs, then we might still have a chance of investing in it. Because let's be real, with 100, you can literally buy 100 stocks with 300 euros. Okay. 300 euros or dollars, whatever you convert it to your money. If those, it's never gonna go back up to the 50 or even 70 that it was during the pandemic. I mean, we will need another pandemic for that, but highly improbable. I hope. But it can go back to 50. Now imagine if you score a 47 euro profit per stock, multiplied by 100, you literally made 4,700. Just like that. Of course, if you put one more zero in front of it, you get 47k. But you will need to invest 3k. Another zero, 30k. You know it's exponential with zeros. But where's the money for it?
Another Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, Skull and Bones, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, Star Wars.
Skull and Bones, the first quadruple A game. Yeah, sure.
It's
a fucking mobile game, basically.
The Avatar game, surprisingly good. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown as well.
I mean, I heard though that you couldn't play, like there was something with the DLC or something like that for Pandora, for the Avatar game. I don't remember. I don't quite remember. It was something like you can play this part of the game if you don't have the DLC, but it's still connected to the main game, you know? So it's not actual DLC content, it's base game content, something like that. It was something weird.
I mean, it was kind of unfair to expect what they expected there, but it's a great game. The less said about Skull and Bones and Star Wars Outlaws, the better right now.
These are the bad ones, because the other two games were like much smaller in scope and they cost less money. So it's like Prince of Persia probably cost like, you know, less than, I'd say, $20-30 million to make, really.
Which is still too much. $20-30 million to make a game is still too much. You're not gonna be able to sustain that in the long run. If you keep making games for 20-30 million, okay, it's always gonna be a risk. Always. Because yeah, okay, I spend 20-30 million to make the game. I sell one copy per four probably. It's gonna be always around 60, in my opinion. They usually release AAA games, so they're always around 60. Well, now they're 70 bucks. So if you do 60 bucks per copy, and you just to make the game, do we count marketing? Let's count marketing. So for everything, make the game, paying the people, paying advertising and everything, just all the expenses, 30 million. You're going to make it out of the losses and actually have a profit. Well, actually, just to go even, 30 million divided by 60, then you have the number of copies that you have to sell. Let me do it quickly because I don't want to do it with my head. We have a fucking calculator. We invented it. Let's use it. So 30 million divided by 60, which is in one copy. You need to sell 500 fucking thousand game. You need to sell 500k game. You have to sell the game 500,000 times just to make it even. Just to make it even. It's unrealistic. I'm real. I think it's unrealistic.
Realistically, given the scope of it. So, that doesn't really matter a whole lot. But whenever you put $100 million into something and you lose on that, that matters a lot more. Avatar is amazing. I would only want to play Avatar if I could play as the humans and just go shoot all of the Avatar people.
Sure, yeah, go ahead with that. We should, in my opinion, we should have more bad guy games. We should have more bad guy games. Actual bad guy. I might even, we might even. Let's go make a bad guy game.
The situation has been so bad. They're actually considering a buyout or selling the entire studio to whoever.
They did, and this is the only time in the last year that their stock went up.
Yeah.
is willing to pay. A recent deal with Tencent fell through because the founders wanted to keep control of the company. And
smart, bro. Tencent, I'm telling you guys, like these guys over in China, they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
they said,
100%.
why would I? So you want us to buy your ship and not change the captain? But the captain's the one who keeps tipping the ship over.
Yep.
Why does this happen?
When you're owned by somebody, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So honestly, yeah, you can say there were some big problems with some of the games. You exclude Skull and Bones, and all the games I mentioned are decent games. You exclude Star Wars Outlaws, and well, they're actually very good games. Some of the best the studio's put out in years. They're finally starting to evolve their formula.
The problem doesn't matter because this game was massively overpriced.
Yep.
So it's like you can win, like taking a game to market. You have like multiple factors, right? It's like time.
How much was Prince of Persia?
The game quality, the price of the game, the distribution of the game. All of these things matter. And
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, $40.
This game was sold at such a high price range with early access that it alienated a large audience of people that I think if for $20 or $30 could have truly appreciated it as a faithful recreation of Prince of Persia in some cases, and if nothing else, just a relatively pretty good Metroidvania game. But they decided not to do that.
But it's
kind of check it out for a second.
So with all that said, there's a pretty big question mark on top of the new game about the oath that murderers take.
All right, so this site gives you the stats for Steam, okay? Nothing else. If the game development actually costed for 30 million for this game, they only made 2 million out of this. 2 million. They basically made more money with the old games if you compare it. They just released the game on Steam, and the game made 770k cents of time. Even this, it's for $10. I think it's $10. So just think about it. Bad game, good game, decent, good game, decent. Even this one that came out last year, good game. But look, how do you think you can make it up? You can make a profit out of this? You just sold 2 million. That means that the budget for this should have been a third. Let's do a math again. 2 million, 2.1 million, divided by 3. It means that the cost of the game to develop it should have been 700k. That's it. As simple as it is. Prince of Persia should have cost 700k to make.
Hi, folks,
and I'm pretty sure that it wasn't like that.
Talk about how much is riding on Assassin's Creed Shadows. A lot. I mean, this game needs to be a success.
If this game doesn't sell 5 million copies, the studio's done.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think even if the game doesn't sell 10 million copies in its lifespan, it's almost like the studio's done. I think that they're too it will not.
It will not sell by no.
Do not think that it will. I think it's 4 to 6 million is my projection with the new game.
Assassin's Creed is their premier franchise, and well, Valhalla may have been responsible for a lot of fans giving up on Ubisoft in the first place.
Yeah.
It was without a doubt a massive hit. It sold over 20 million copies and earned over $1 billion. That's a B in revenue.
That's a lot.
That game's success has been a double-edged sword. It made a lot of...
Take this example. Assassin's Creed. Oh my god, it's even worse than I thought. Okay, so can I do for per revenue? It goes down. Okay, so Freedom Cry DLC is the one that made less money. Mirage, that was Was it released 4 months ago, Mirage? Only 4 months ago? Probably on Steam though, right? It made 5 million. Revelations, 6 million. The first Assassin's Creed, 7.5 million. The remastered of Assassin's Creed 3, 8 million. Syndicate, 16. Assassin's Creed 2, 19 million. And which is considered the best Assassin's Creed ever. Valhalla only made 30 million. Worse than fucking Unity. And Unity was a fucking shit show of bugs. Okay? Unity was a shit show. Origins and Odyssey, they actually... I don't know how much they costed to make, but they got their objective. Odyssey, I don't like the new RPG style and everything. I like the setting and everything. I still like it. I still like the game. It's not an Assassin's Creed in my opinion, because it has way different gameplay style. But the game is still good in my opinion. And they made 180 million. And is it on Steam? By the way, no. Across all the platforms. That's just on Steam. Yeah. I still think it's... I mean, Valhalla, it's shit. Valhalla, 30 million. 30 million for fucking Valhalla.
But
God damn it.
Yeah.
I guess, lack of a better way of putting it, it also just bludgeons you with sort of endless content. I'm using the word very deliberately here to convey what people think of the word content.
You just
I
made...
can see why, for a lot of people, enough was enough.
And that just made a normal RPG. Just went down the...
Clicking on a collectible and it says 1 of 465.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. But that's not the only issue, in my opinion. The issue is that they just, instead of keeping the game different, they made it more like other games. You know?
It's OCD.
They went back, they decided, let's follow the trend. Let's not make our game anymore.
Like, full blown. The funny thing, I don't think Valhalla is bad at all. I think it's a good game.
I watched Shroud
really
play it,
long.
that's it.
It's really bloated, and it's ultimately pretty formulaic.
I don't... No, Valhalla is a bad game, period. You just said it. I think it's a good game, even though it's long. So you're basically saying that it's a good game, but even though there's these flaws. If you think a game is good, then it doesn't have any flaws for you, and you just listed them.
It wears out its welcome,
No.
I guess is the way to put it. To really enjoy Valhalla, you have to play it until you're sick of it, and then put it down for like a week, and then play it until you're sick of it, and then put it down for like a week.
Not a good game, then.
Do that at least twice. You're going to put it down for a week at least twice while playing it to really enjoy the game,
Damn.
which it's not good.
That's weird.
The game was an endurance test. It did not do enough to advance Assassin's Creed as a series. Shadows, Assassin's Creed Shadows, the new one, is supposed to be that evolution. The game where Ubisoft finally innovates their stale gameplay systems and updates all the tired cliches. I don't know if it's actually going to or not, but
I don't think
all
so.
the previews going around.
I mean, like, this is Assassin's Creed, and part of the Assassin's Creed game is a house building simulator where you can pick the color of dog that you want in your house.
Wait, what the fuck? Is that real?
This is very problematic.
What the fuck?
Huh?
Not even in Fable you could do that.
Hong Kong pre-release information. It does seem like Ubisoft really wants us to think of this game as a new beginning for the series. It's not just that Assassin's Creed Shadows desperately wants us back either. It needs us back. The future of the entire company is
you need to have a cool main character, and Yusuke, there's no real personality behind the character. That's like, if you look at Ezio, like the old Assassin.
They killed... Assassin's Creed died when they killed Connor. Assassin's Creed had that history, okay? Had the story. Which is pretty cool. Not the best one, was pretty cool. After they killed Connor, that's when everything started to go to shit. Story-wise. Black Flag is still the best Assassin's Creed ever made. As progression. They topped there. Then they started going down. Unity was a shit show. Unity was a shit show.
If you ask...
I literally played and completed every single Assassin's Creed from 1 up to Unity 5. And they all were great. Okay? They are not good anymore, some of them because they were made in the early 2000s. Assassin's Creed 1 has its flaws. It's still a good game, yes, but he has flaws because it's a game of its time. Same the 2. Brotherhood and Revelations, they were neat. I really enjoyed the mechanics of the Brotherhood, that you could recruit assassins, like just recruit people to become an assassin. You had missions and everything, all that kind of stuff. That was pretty cool. The tower defense was kind of boring, but at the same time, I will probably enjoy it more now that I'm older. Because let's be real, tower defense games are kind of boomer games, if you want to keep it slow. And Assassin's Creed, it was just good. I didn't play Rogue. Completely forgot about that game. Yeah. So, fucking hell.
Every 15-year-old guy, does this dude look cool? Everybody's gonna be like, yeah, he's so cool, right? But, and it's like, because there's a degree of kind of, what's the word for it? Like, there's gravitas to it. And just like his expression on his face, the way he's dressed, everything about it, it indicates a certain type of personality and a vibe to it, right? And with Yasuke, I feel like they haven't really done that hardly at all.
And the point is, it's hard to know that. They didn't show any dialogues, sort of. Ezio, Altair, Connor? I don't remember the name of the character from Assassin's Creed 3. Ethan, Edward, every single character had characterization. They had a personality, they had their goals, their opinions, their ideas, and blah blah blah. Everybody had their character development. And it was always shown from the beginning of the game. Like, you already got some of Altair personality from this beginning of the game, which wasn't that much. It was shadowy. And it fit the team perfectly because you're an assassin in a creed, in a brotherhood. And you gotta be shady. Ezio was good because he didn't know anything about the creed. They kill his family. And then he needs to step inside an assassin's shoes and do what he must to avenge his family. But Ezio didn't become an assassin because he believed in it. Ezio became an assassin because he had to, for revenge, for his personal needs. I don't think it's that hard to write a good story. I don't understand why they're not making any good stories anymore.
The reason why is that I think if they give the character too much of a personality, it could seem like it's antithetical to him being a Japanese person. And if they don't give him enough, then it's like a boring character. So they're in like this really weird spot. Yusuke no aura. Yeah, he just doesn't have aura. Exactly. Like, there are characters like, you know, Senator Armstrong, fucking like Heisme in Metaphor, like Luis in Metaphor, right? Like, that's aura. Like, this is an aura. This is like whatever the opposite of aura is. Yoshimitsu, yeah.
Oh, Yoshimitsu from Tekken.
Henry,
okay.
yeah, Henry, and fucking, what's his name? The guy with him. Hans. Yeah, Clive has aura. Duke Nukem has aura. Yeah.
On this game.
You can call it aura, but it's just that you know who they are. Even Master Chief has an aura. I think what he's trying to say is, which I agree with, is that old characters, basically, you recognize them. You know who they are. You understand them. You have feelings. You prove something when you hear their name, when they talk, and blah blah blah. Which is something that doesn't happen anymore. But I think that a cool comparison, in my opinion, would be compare Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which was a good game. Assassin's Creed Odyssey was actually a very good game. Also, financially speaking, it sold a lot of copies. They should compare, in my opinion, Shadows to Odyssey. Because Assassin's Creed, the modern one, it's not near the same to the old one. Not even close.
Has to make a splash, or else. And there's a certain desperation around the release of this game that you usually do not see from Ubisoft. They pushed it back to March 20th in order to release the game with no competition. They're offering DLC with pre-orders. They're finally releasing day one on Steam again. The old
that's a roach play. They're roaching. You can tell right there.
They need the money.
They have their own system and they're still going back to Steam. Yep.
They need the money.
Ubisoft would never do. They knew they had your money where they were 100% confident in their success, so they released their games whenever they wanted, wherever they wanted. Expensive DLC passes be damned. In this new punished Ubisoft era, they're actually doing things people like, and while it's clearly all from a place of desperation, I mean, it's nice to see somebody learning the lesson. There's 100 different things I could point to right now of people who just refuse to learn the lesson. Just do what people want you to do, and it'll work. So
just do the thing and make the game good. That's the crazy thing with Marvel Rivals. They just did the thing and they made the game good.
Yeah, but they got laid off anyway. Marvel Rivals, the game is good, but they still all the fucking members got laid off.
I think that also like a lot of players are becoming fatigued with live service retention mechanisms. Things like daily quests, things like login counters, stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
I think
100%.
that's beginning to fatigue a lot of players. Marvel Rivals devs got fired. Yeah, but like, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I really feel bad for them, and I think that sucks on a personal level. But like, I don't give a fuck how they run their company. That's not my problem. I just play the game.
Yeah, like, we can agree completely. We can agree on that. Who cares? But at the same time, we have to think why that happened. Still, Marvel Rivals, successful game. Formula works. The game is good and everything, and they still fired the dev team. Why? Because money doesn't come back. Because everything is becoming too expensive. And I'm sorry, but you know who doesn't have any problems with money, looks like? With games, no major criticisms whatsoever? Nintendo. Nintendo is still there making fucking Mario RPG remastered or whatever, and they're still making it a good financial success for the company. And then their games don't take 4 to 5 years to make. The video.
Samsung wants to use child laborers to make a new fucking phone. That sounds great. How much is it? Oh, it's only $1,000. Great. Wow. Thank God for cobalt miners. I mean, that's not my problem.
Yeah. It's real.
I mean,
let's be real.
To some extent, we do have to look at this as an aberrant situation.
Nobody cares.
Desperation or no, I don't really
Nobody
care why.
actually truly cares.
At least, so
because it's not profitable to actually care about it.
Yeah, I'm. Everybody feels the way that I do, but some people like to pretend that they don't in order to, you know, make themselves sound good.
Yeah.
But I think that their actions are what matter.
Yeah.
Not words.
As they always said, actions speak louder than words.
They show they're pretty serious about PC support. On top of just straight up releasing the game on Steam day one, they recently put out a trailer specifically to show off all the PC support features, including the stuff you'd expect, like access to all the AI upscaling tools and ray tracing features. But they also mentioned stuff like built-in benchmarking tools and a wide range of support for low and medium-end systems.
Game looks good.
Meaning
100%.
optimization, perhaps.
Low? I mean, does this really look that much different?
Yeah, that's why I usually just play games on low.
A little bit.
I usually play games on low because or medium, whatever it is, because there's no difference. My eye doesn't spot the difference. I don't see any difference between the images. Maybe some lighting, whatever. My eye doesn't care. I care about gameplay, and if my computer shuts down because of the game, it's overheating my PC because the graphics are too demanding, even though the computer should be able to handle it. I just turn down the graphics.
I don't know. We'll see.
Like, am I crazy for thinking that? Like, maybe this is going to be a really hot take, but I think this is the beginning of the exponential growth curve of graphic quality leveling off.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think we've hit the 80-20 rule right here.
Yeah.
Probably 90-10. They could make games that look like this for the next 10 years. And as long as they play well, people aren't going to complain.
Yep.
Graphics have hit a threshold to where they are basically good enough.
To be honest, the graphics to me look like Battlefield 4. Which is not a bad thing. If I take Battlefield 4, which I can't fucking type. Battlefield 4, which came out in... When did it came out? 2013. Let me get an image. Like, I need a player face image. Campaign, the black guy. I don't remember the name. I just remember it was a black guy. Blackburn is from the third. There we go. Black guy. Which was actually acted by okay. So let's do a quick comparison. This is his face. Here. God damn it. How big difference do you see? Honestly, I love the game here, so I might even say that this looks better. But trying to stay objective, I don't see much of a difference here. This is even nighttime with more complex lighting. I'm gonna be real. I don't see. I don't spot the differences. The game is from 2013,
we'll
whatever
see.
it was.
But another highly requested feature
Fabric
that's
details,
finally
bro?
in Shadows
Yeah,
is
nobody
an
cares.
immersive mode where you can set it so that characters actually speak their native language.
I mean, it's good. GTA.
It's just an option. Default still
She looks
English
way
or
hotter in
whatever.
that cinema.
GTA Grand Theft Auto has been only making video games in English forever. They never translated it, and always been good because you're in fucking America usually, right? Except London, but you're still English. Still, can I be straight with you? If you make a game that it's set in Japan, I think you should make the character speak Japanese and then you dub it in English. I watch anime, yes. I think it's still better than immersion. Just like I think that if you make a game about Korea with Koreans as the protagonist, or even Chinese people, whatever the nationality is, I think the primary dub for them should be their language. Of course, depends if they are like they have to talk with an Englishman and then they have to speak English, or Englishman and needs to speak with a Russian, so he speaks Russian. You know, it just adds to immersion. It makes sense. Plus, of course, you don't have to actually use it if you don't like to hear Japanese because you're like, I don't understand it, and even worse Chinese, where you go like, you know, Chinese, it sounds like that. If you don't like it, just hear in English. But I still think their priority thing will be to actually dub those games in their actual language they're supposed to be set in.
Your local languages, but it's a welcome feature. I'll probably play it in English if I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
Sam
At
Boogie's
least
about
the
to
first
bow
time.
down.
Assuming there's a
Yeah.
second time, I'll probably go through with immersive mode. But for AC fans, Shadows sounds on paper like the game we've all been waiting for. A game set in Japan with more complex stealth systems and more visceral combat. It promises an immersive open world with things like changing seasons.
I just can't think of a single action combat game that's come out in the last 2 years that's as bad as this. Like, basically every single action combat game that comes out is...
The problem of Assassin's Shadows is that it needs to be compared to not Sekiro, Gods of Tsushima. it's gonna be compared to Ghost of Tsushima 100%, and we already know that Ghost of Tsushima is just better.
Is better than
already.
This. I mean, I would say that
it's less arcadey.
I mean, maybe this is better a little bit than Veilguard.
So who knows?
Going to focus on actual investigation, where you don't just find your target simply by following a series of linear quests, but actually searching the world and discovering things naturally. On paper, sounds like the dream Assassin's Creed game, right? But what matters is the implementation.
Yeah,
we've seen Ghost of Tsushima already.
This is what I need to play.
In a lot of ways, I am describing Ghost of Tsushima. On that same hand, it's also pretty hard not to be cynical about a new game from Ubisoft, which is one of the most cynical game developers out there. But from everything I have seen, this new game does look like a genuine step up for the series. Perhaps even a big one, but whether it's big enough...
I don't see how you can say that after watching the combat in the game.
Yep.
I don't.
I saw those
I looked at the combat in the game, and as somebody who spends a lot of time evaluating that, and that is my prime focus of gameplay, I don't agree with that conclusion.
Gameplay matters. So, every single Assassin's Creed, we have the part when you do the assassin, then you kill the target, or you either fuck up and then kill the target. But no matter what happens, you always end up with guards stuck in you, and there's an action combat sequence. Even though Assassin's Creed is not meant by the title to be an action game with action combat, you still had it, which was still good. I think the old school Assassin's Creed thing was easy. The action combat was easy. I'm gonna be real, but it was good. It was satisfying because you could literally parry one target, one shot him, then turn around, one shot another guy again. It was fun because you actually feel the power that you could fucking destroy a whole army and everything. The new games don't give that feel because they're more arcadey. You have fucking levels. They turn out to be like the fucking Division, you know? So, fuck, I guess.
The combat before was worse. That doesn't really matter to me.
No, in my opinion,
what matters is like what it's competing against in the contemporary market.
Is yet to be seen. A lot of what they've shown so far is pretty exciting. Almost all the changes to stealth sound like huge improvements. Finally being able to hide in darkness, noise being a concern with things like creaky floors, and being able to crawl and go prone.
That's good. That sounds good. I see that you have the target.
I will admit though, that is clean. Yep. Like that's really good.
If they focus more on the assessing part,
long requested changes.
It's not that bad.
Put out lights like in Splinter Cell,
yeah.
or even just stuff that existed on PlayStation and Nintendo 64. I don't know why, for whatever reason, you can't put lights out. I don't understand that. I like that you're going to be able to do it here, though. There's servant NPCs. They'll run and call guards if they see you. It all sounds a lot more complex. And even, like I kind of mentioned, old school. Like, there's stuff here that reminds me of, like, PlayStation 1 and 64 to PlayStation 2 and GameCube era stuff. I like that. Combat looks more intense here, too. They're clearly taking inspiration from, and I mentioned this already, the more fast and brutal fights of Ghost of Tsushima. I
just, like, can we go back and watch that again?
I don't like it.
PlayStation 1 and 64 to PlayStation 2 and GameCube era
I don't like
stuff.
it.
I like that. Combat looks more intense here, too.
I've seen Unreal 5 tech demos that are more responsive and better than this. This is a joke.
Yep, I don't like it.
Every single gacha game is better than this.
They're clearly taking inspiration from, and I mentioned this already,
and the Babu vanishes.
Fights of Ghost of Tsushima. I do kind of think they realized they were out Assassin's Creeded by that game, but they aren't just trying to, copy that. They're also giving us a much wider array of weapons to play with, which potentially I think makes that fast and brutal combat a lot cooler sounding. The thing a lot of people still aren't entirely sold on are the split protagonists. There's now the Shinobi Yasuke, the samurai. Naoe basically plays like your old school AC protagonist, where he's sneaking around rooftops, sneakily stabbing people. Well, Yasuke is a big bruiser who sucks at stealth, but excels at combat. It's an interesting concept, and from all the previews, I actually respect they're trying to make each character actually play differently rather than just be reskins.
That's smart. Yeah, true.
Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense, in my opinion, how the combat is handled.
But also, Yasuke, the sort of big
like
bruiser
him
style,
hitting the katana and then
sound less interesting mechanic.
I
don't know that
make the body go up. It's
but now
great.
Gets access to all the cool ninja
I mean,
tools.
the ninja things are cool,
hook,
in my opinion.
She can run on walls, hide in tight spaces, all these interesting tricks.
Look at that. I mean, that's good, in my opinion.
Well, Yasuke allegedly can just kill stuff better. He's the melee.
Yeah, that's what I want to play.
Yeah, not me, for example.
That's right. I don't give a fuck about how many flips she can do. If I want to see that, I go watch the Olympics.
Guy. It's like Ubisoft is afraid to make a game where you just play as a ninja in Assassin's Creed. They have to have a warrior.
That was a nice joke,
for
but still
around killing everything without having.
So this guy actually brings up a really great point, and I think that this point of view is something that Ubisoft needs to take consideration into, especially for the fact that, like, Assassin's Creed, I don't like stealth games.
There we go.
Straight up, I don't find them fun.
Yeah.
So in a way, Assassin's Creed as a game, if it appeals to me, it's losing its grasp on its original identity. Does that make sense?
There we go.
Because like, by appealing to a person that is not interested in these kinds of games,
appeal to another thing.
Then it would be obvious that
the point is they're trying to do two things at the same time, and it might happen that they're just not gonna be in motion together, and they're gonna collide. And then the whole game collapses because the two main mechanics, stealth and action combat, don't fit well together, or one doesn't fit well. It gets not completely inside the puzzle, and then everything breaks.
Like they're trying to I think they did this with Valhalla, right? And I know
Odyssey, I played it. There was no whatsoever stealth. Stealth was a joke. You can't even one-shot people with by killing, like, as an assassin, you don't one-shot people. I don't know how they're gonna handle this here, but in my opinion, nah. Just
noticed this a lot. Because I watched Shroud play it, and Shroud wasn't sneaking around that much, right? He was just killing people. And I was like, well, this isn't really... Is this really Assassin's Creed?
It's no more Assassin's Creed.
What is this?
Yeah.
And so now they've created an audience of
everything has changed.
People that want to play, because Valhalla was the last big one, right? And so they want to capitalize off of that audience that they've brought in. But I think also at the same time, it's going to be hard for them to reconcile their original audience and make it basically also an Assassin's Creed game with assassinations. You see kind of what my point is, right? Where you're trying to have your cake and eat it too with like both different audiences. You want the traditional action combat audience, but you also want the audience of people that like the more assassin gameplay.
That's the main issue.
And so I think that as a long-term fan of Assassin's Creed, I could feel very frustrated about this if I was one. I'm not.
To worry about the boring stealth crap, which I mean, to at least some extent I get. I do kind of understand the thought process here. I don't hate the idea of getting the options. I just worry about one of those options making it so that the development of both of those options was effort diverted that could have been put into one thing that would have been better. I guess
that's actually a great point that he's bringing up.
That's what I was saying. They're trying to collide two things without focusing on one, which is still a cool, neat concept. Because, as he was saying, gacha games, you already have different type of characters that play differently. They have different skills, they have different combos, blah, blah, blah. You can even just take Street Fighter, for example, or just a fighting combat. Tekken, whatever. You have different characters, they play differently. Someone has range attacks, somebody else has melee attacks, someone else has grabbing attacks, whatever. Here, trying to find a balance between stealth and assassination and going in gun blazing, it's not the same because it's literally the complete opposites. Which, for example, if you take Gods of Tsushima actually did a great job in my opinion when I played it a little bit. Because you had the action combat with different stances for different enemies, great. And then you have the stealth. In my opinion, though, that's me. I don't play, if I have to play again, which I will probably in the future, play Gods of Tsushima, actually completely and finish it. If I want to play that game, I'm going to play it not for the stealth, I'm going to play it for the action. Period. That's as simple as it is.
Is that he's absolutely right that by adding in 2 protagonists and by doing that, you're spending development time on something that you could have created the ninja experience and made it even better. That's a great point.
Which, by the way, I think people should try to actually do because there's not many stealth games out there. Nobody's making actual ninja or whatever stealth games. And I get it, that is hard, but somebody, some people, some companies, they actually have the resources, should try to do it. The point is a risk. Yes, as always, making a video game is always a risk, but we are in 2025. You know, you kind of have, I don't say the experience, but you have you can get the knowledge about what to actually do and what to not fucking do.
Naoe is fantastic. It doesn't really matter to me. That's who I will play as. And
I would play Naoe 100%, by the way.
At least seem to have some interesting skills. He can smash through walls, for instance. He can shoulder check enemies off cliffs. Got a more traditional combat system with a parry and block button. He's got access to a traditional samurai sword, along with some bigger weapons like the Naginata and the Kanabo.
Yeah.
Cudgel that can smash through armor.
The mace.
Yasuke might sound a little bit like easy mode even, but they're attempting to balance him out by making it so he absolutely sucks at stealth. Climbing is slow and awkward, and don't even think about trying to use tight ropes because they're just going to snap with the weight. His animations play up the fact that he is not built for stealth, which is both kind of interesting.
You can bet the doggo though, so plus 1 point.
Basically begins and ends with the bow, which is a silent kill weapon that he has access to that Naoe doesn't. She can be worse in combat, but she actually sounds more unique and interesting as a character to play as, at least from the previews. Instead of
that's probably true.
Parry,
even the combat style, because it's not conventional fighting style with the katana.
But
she dodges,
her vulnerable.
I mean, to be fair, you did just see the frame fuck up there. That was not very good, but yeah.
Nope. Yeah.
It sounds like
even the frame from the other from Delta Force.
They're not afraid to gang up on you, and they can probably easily overwhelm the much squishier but stealthier Naoe. Shadows might be attempting to modernize the formula in a lot of ways, but it's also bringing back a few old gameplay staples of the series. For one thing, you can no longer climb absolutely everything. Certain mountains and smooth surfaces can't be climbed. You need an actual handhold to get anywhere in AC Shadows. And honestly, that should allow for more interesting and complex world design. Just because it works in Breath of the Wild, it works everywhere. Sometimes the limitation is good, and I think that in terms of...
Sekiro had that in a lot of cases, and it worked fine. I feel like there's not...
In Skyrim, you can't climb shit, but still, if you wanted to fucking climb the mountain by jumping, you still did it, so...
really a right or a wrong way to do it, but if you do it the right way, or sorry, if you doing it the right way is understanding what you're doing and doing it well.
Assassin's Creed, that limitation it's necessary.
It's a design
so you can't
issue.
just go wherever you want anymore. That allows the designers to come up with more carefully curated locations that are more rewarding to explore. Changing seasons could also...
From what it looks like, they're also showing more the girl than Yasuke, but it's a pity that the game might actually be bad because the environment looks great. The ninja girl, she looks great. The fighting, I don't like some things, like the area of impact, damage, whatever the weapon is. I don't remember the name. But I liked when they showed she fighting with the katana. She doesn't handle it with two hands. She handles it with one, and it's upside down. You know, stuff like that. it's completely different from traditional Japanese fighting, because if you play Ghost of Tsushima, you know that Japan had a warrior culture. Basically, it's a culture and of it's a culture of fighting with honor, and you don't kill people from the shadows. Okay, you always kill people trying to actually kill them in the front. Even though we all know this is kind of bummer, because at night those noble warriors that wouldn't ever kill anybody in the sleep, they will always hire somebody else that will do it for them. So
affect level design like winter freezes that can be
Walk
walked
over the
on.
water.
I've seen some previews that are skeptical about the whole weather system, saying it doesn't seem to change much in terms of gameplay, which may be
doesn't.
true, but it seems like
it doesn't change much in terms of gameplay. Maybe, I mean, there's the noise thing. Maybe if the ground is wet, you make more noise, and if the ground is more snowy, you make a certain type of noise instead of just normal arid floor or terrain. Sorry. We'll have to see it.
like these seasons
But
are more like
I feel like even with Avowed and games they're considered woke, we are trying too much to put the nail in the coffin. Yeah, like we are trying to find problems where there actually might not be no problems. So if there is a weather system with a season changing, I'm gonna be real. It's good. Is it good looking? Yes, then I'm good. Does it change any type of gameplay? No. I'm still okay with it because I can experience Japan in different seasons, which still look fucking amazing. I'm there for the visual effects, for the visual experience. If it does not change anything on the gameplay style, who cares? It doesn't have to. Not everything needs to be gameplay. If you see a wall with NPCs, that needs to be gameplay related. You cannot have static NPCs anymore in an RPG open world game. Almost in any type of game, you cannot have static fucking NPCs that you cannot even hit. These are on a different level. And I think again that we're trying to find problems where there might not be.
Measurements of time rather than strictly a gameplay thing. See, the seasons in the game tie in this whole scout mechanic where you can recruit scouts to do various things for you. They can be used to help narrow down objectives in the game.
See, this is the kind of stuff that I feel like in a lot of these games, like you're just adding in a bunch of these features and functions that the game has. Like, so you have like Assassin's Creed and you have this narrow game, like in some cases, and I think that they try to broaden the game, and at a certain point the game loses its identity and it's just another like piece of slop. Like, why do we have why do you need scouts? Like, why does this system exist? Like, and you ask yourself the question, the important thing is that why is the design made in a way that scouts feel like they're necessary? And I think that, like, it was really illuminating for me to go back and play games like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance or like Ninja Gaiden Black. These are just very narrow, great games. Armored Core 6, another great example. You don't need to do everything. Not every game needs to have a building simulator. Not every game needs to have a collection system. Not every game needs to have a costume functionality. And so you see games that are just becoming larger and larger in scope because they want to include more types of audience.
But sometimes they don't need to. And by the way, the more he talks about it, the more I want to play Metal Gear Solid 5 so badly.
But the fact is that I think in a lot of these cases, does this feature really improve the quality of the game? Does it really make the game better? And I think in a lot of cases nowadays with AAA games, the answer to that is really no. And sometimes less is more. And I think the best example of that is Sekiro or Armored Core 6. One of those two games. These are narrow, great, amazing experiences that don't have a million other functionalities that have nothing to do with the core gameplay experience.
Yeah. And I completely agree with it. Some games just need to lower down their scope and do one good thing, maybe another one, like keep it first goal and second goal, and that's it. You want a stealth game? Good, focus on stealth. Second, assassin. There we go. There it's it. Nothing more to do. You're set and done. You don't have to do collectibles. None of that shit. And you need to make the fucking environment and everything. The design needs to go around it. You can't just make a stealth game with assassinations around a fucking arcade game. Come on. By the way, that's all. We're now gonna have 2-minute outbreak. And after that, we're gonna jump into Kenshi because I wanna play. So I'll see you guys back.